On the day of the new year, we meet the fun and the joy with our family. But what if this joy was replaced by shouting, crying, and death just because of a little neglect? This is what happened in Peru, where 200 people were killed, in one of the largest fireworks disasters all over the world. Before we begin our story, if you are new to this channel, please subscribe, don't forget to like this video and click the notification bell, so you are always updated in life amazing stories. The city of Lima in Peru is one of the largest cities in South America. It has a desert zone, hopeful buildings, and the overlooking Pacific Ocean. It is estimated that there is another population worth 9.5 million. It is known to be visited by tourists for its beautiful beaches, historical museums, flyers, old churches and monasteries. Despite this, one of the favorite tourist attractions, celebrating Christmas and New Year along with other tourists with the fancy fireworks celebration of this city. In the city of Lima, there is Mesa Redonda Shopping Center. This is a shopping mall full of a little shop. These retail shops are known to be attended by consumers for cheap goods, such as clothes, toys, shoes, and other equipment. Mainly every time the holiday season comes and New Year knew this place to be blessed with gifts and fireworks. The ground floor of Mesa Redonda is filled with retail stores selling a variety of fireworks. From this building, the road surroundings are also filled with small vendors, selling fireworks approximately up to 6 blocks, or 6 corners. Furthermore, the adjacent buildings have begun to sell clothes because of the numbers of people who attended feel the joy here. Especially if you came 3 days before the new year, it can hardly mean the needle because of too many people. If you compare it to our country, it is like Divisoria, but instead of clothes and toys, you will find along the way are all fireworks display. December 29, 2001. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, sellers began to prepare for their selling in and out of the table in Redonda. Each store had a gimmick to grab the attention of the buyers, like loud music, dance, and singing. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon have begun to rise. Most of them buy fireworks to use on the day of the new year. According to people here, other bigger families want more to buy fireworks than the food to prepare them at the table every medianoche. The use of fireworks in this area is a great tradition that has even begun with their ancestors. 7:30 p.m. The needle could hardly mean the place filled with people from children until older. Women or men flocking to this crowded place to shop for fireworks that they bring to their families. People who live in one of the buildings stare out the window, cheerfully watch the bright and happy road at their bottom. But the knowledge of the tragedy still haunts them, while the people busy shopping. There's a glitter that takes place of a vendor who sparks and falls inside the box full of fireworks, and here the fire begins to wrap around the city. From the tiny spark, the fireworks in the box are fast-paced spread to storage fireworks. The other fireworks like the quotas have even begun to fly and shoot, going to the adjoining fireworks vendor. The spread is accelerating. Meanwhile, another fire from the fireworks also reached the retail shop with clothes and toys. And because the toys are made of plastic sales here, the fire quickly spread to other retail shops on the lower part of the road as well as one of the buildings. Some of the households here made of wood were also hit by fire from fireworks, so the fire grew and the fire spread. From a happy night full of lying and dancing on the road suddenly replaced with a race and shouting. No one chose by the direction of the people they had just been in their desire to survive from the fire. Some ran away from the road, while some even climbing inside a building. On the super panic, that most people in turn suddenly ran inside the retail stores, thinking of them thieves, that they were going to get them. They lowered their steel doors to protect themselves and their store. Eventually they are confined inside their store and they no longer see what happened outside. They hear the shouting and running outside of the store. Other retail owners still have no idea what the source of the chaos really is. Meanwhile, people in a taxi or private vehicles will not be able to get out of their cars due to the road that is still full of panicking people. Some of the passengers are families who are already going home, while some are tourists who want to look from inside their car. But as they saw the flames, they were filled with fear that they would either drive their cars or get out of their car for a run. They couldn't, because the road still filled with panicking people. From a spark, the fire now quickly spread over 4 corners of the city, such as the fire quickly reached the upper part of the building. Some people who have been abducted earlier by customers were worshipping for their lives. Others jumped into the higher adjacent buildings, while others have been trapped in their home. In just 30 minutes since the fire started, the noise from the screams and running has gradually subsided, a sign that the victims are slowly losing their lives. Meanwhile, the firefighters came to respond to extinguish the flames. Unfortunately, they did not immediately enter because the road was filled with human gossip that their truck blocked. Because of obstructed people, and they still have to shout for them to soak. Unfortunately, when they come to the fire area, their water hose is not strong enough because of the weak water pressure in that area. Here are the nasty people who try to cling and tread their hoses, reasons for the weakening of its water. As the firefighters did everything they could to keep the fire, for an hour they witnessed how the fire consumed the whole of the city. It is like a wall made of fire, and all you hear on the other side are the cries and groans of dying people. When the fire was extinguished, firefighters were seen in the condition of the poor victims. Some victims were still in their vehicles still hugging until eventually people inside the store were also burned and no life was left. The people who were trapped inside their houses above the buildings also burned with their loved ones, and neither survived in the most widespread here. And the worst were the bodies of people scattered on the road who tried to run to survive. According to firefighters, the total number of deaths reached 291 people, and more than 100 from it were young children, while up to 134 people were found injured. So far, the government has changed their law when it comes to selling fireworks, and increased the conservation of crowded areas, like a mesa redonda, to prevent such tragedy from repeating itself. The lesson we get here is that we can be practical in life when it comes to buying, whether we buy our money for fireworks, or it is just food. And if you really can live, then be sure to be careful about buying and using fireworks, as we cannot avoid the tragedy like this. And the latter is, do not have to gossip the way in every disaster or trouble. Because we may just block people from just doing their jobs, as happened to the Mesa Redonda firefighters, whose replacement was the life of others. Thank you for watching.